Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Welcome, everyone. We're back at PCA's national office. Around the table, I have Damon Lowney, Manny Albin, and a special guest today. We have Carl Scholz, a Chesapeake region member who many of us see at Cars and Coffee quite a bit. But we brought him in here to talk about his first adventure to Werks Reunion, Amelia Island. Welcome, Carl.
Thank you.
I want to make sure we thank Pirelli for their sponsorship of the podcast. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, what are you waiting for? Have your VIN handy. Head over to PCA.org and make sure you sign up for membership. And those of you that are looking for a Porsche for your driveway or your garage, we have the test drive program, which you can sign up for. And this is pretty exciting. We're in the midst of, I think I've talked about the longest 8 minutes of my life, which has been waiting for the results of the Classic Club Coupe a few years ago. Right now, we've got a 7-day window, which we're anxiously awaiting.
Yes, this would be beginning of day 2 of the Bring a Trailer auction for Project 964. It's at $106,000, which surprised me because I didn't think we'd clear 100 till like the last hour.
Yeah, it's going.
I guess people appreciate the car like we do.
And you're hearing this on Monday, so you can still join in on the frenzy that'll happen on the last day of the auction.
Yeah, it's been an incredible result. The photos, the preparation of the car, and we've just been talking about it. I can't believe it's been 5 years since we received that car.
Yeah, and my financial plan of selling my car and bidding on this car has kind of disappeared in the first day when it cleared 100. Because I thought, because somebody said it'll go for 80, and I thought, well, if it's going to go for 80, then I'll sell my car for 60, and another 20, and I'm getting a low mileage.
The Manny math isn't working on
that
this one.
That disappeared like in the first hour.
So many people that reached out when they heard that the car was about to go for sale. Say, oh, keep me posted. And I think jaws have just been dropped to see that the car has done 106 within the first 24 hours. We're super excited, and we hope it finds a lucky home, and it has to be a PCA member that wins the auction.
And it's very easy to become a PCA member either through you have Porsche ownership, or if you don't have a Porsche, you can join with the test drive program.
You cannot bid with the test drive program, though.
That's correct.
You have to get.
You have to be a PCA member.
Oh,
because otherwise it's non-member income. So
not like the IRS listens to this podcast.
Yeah. We call test drive people.
Nobody left at the IRS.
Program participants.
Details.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a little bit of a tech tip, if I can share before we get into Carl's adventures, is what would you guys do in my 59 356? The turn signal stalk has a lot of resistance, and it's just doesn't want to move up and down, and it kind of, once it does, sometimes it gets stuck in place, and it's a mechanical switch. What would you do?
Buy a new car.
If you were on my budget, what would you do?
Oh, you got to get some kind of lubrication, right? Electrical.
So yeah, exactly it. So I went. I knew enough that you can't just squirt WD-40 and go crazy on it, which I think some people do. So CRC makes this electrical contact cleaner. It's kind of like brake clean.
Turn signal fluid.
And
Wow.
It's not turn signal fluid, but it's an electrical contact cleaner.
Yeah.
I knew enough to get the right cleaner for it. So taking apart the cover, it was grimy. We'll post a picture. It was grimy, and I don't know that's ever been cleaned. So you spray it down, and it kind of works like brake cleaner, and it just clears out all the gunk.
That means every switch you have.
I know, right? But at least now there's a solution. So I initially did that, and then I put it back together, and it was better, but it wasn't still like buttery smooth. And so you guys know of, was it dielectric grease, the stuff that you put on there? I thought that's probably what it needs. So what did I do? I put dielectric grease on it. Turns out the dielectric grease created even more resistance for the mechanical fingers on the switch, and it got worse. I'm like, man, what the heck? So thanks to the friends on 356 friends on Facebook, I went again and cleared it all out with CRC, and then I just did a dab of silicone spray and worked it just a little bit, and now it's smooth as butter. So
Nice.
dielectric grease for moving mechanical parts, not necessarily a good thing. I
Did they
didn't know
tell
that.
you how long you got to go in between touch-ups with that?
I don't know. We'll find
Doesn't
out.
feel good.
Another
Not gonna last
50
forever.
years.
Yeah, that's the thing is, that's a good question. I don't know how long the silicone spray will last, but at least it moves like original. And if I have to do it again, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 little flat bladed screws. Pull off the cover, and I'll do it again.
Nice.
So a
Nice.
little tech tip for you.
Fast forwarding to this decade, on my Macan, I got a Renline license plate holder that kind of bolts into the tow hook. I didn't want to put any license plate at all in the front because Maryland, you need one for the front, but I didn't feel like drilling holes in the bumper, and I just told my wife, I'm like, just wait till we get a ticket, you know.
Sure.
Been like
Because
10
Maryland
years.
State Police never pulls over
They don't listen
people.
to this podcast. And how many white Macans are there?
Oh.
A ton of them. So anyways, she works for the law enforcement, I guess.
Another good reason to have a legal car.
So she wasn't having any of that, and so I said, well, we'll buy this tow hook license plate. Didn't come with any instructions, surprisingly, but fortunately, it's pretty self-explanatory. So with infinite adjustments, and so I had it all mounted and everything. As soon as we get in the car, all the parking sensors go off as soon as we put it in gear. And so I said, well, let's just shut the parking sensor thing off and let's go to where we're going, and I'll start looking online to see what the solution is. And the most popular suggestion was to move the license plate as close as possible to the bumper of the car, body of the car. So the bumper thinks the license plate is part of the bumper.
Of the bumper. Oh.
And when we got back home, I got my tools out, little Allen wrenches, readjusted everything, and it fixed the problem.
So it wasn't a function
Nice.
of left and right. It was a function of moving the license plate closer to
Just
the car.
tilting it a little bit, and it was we're talking about a 1/4 inch. I had to move it, and that was enough to full.
So your
it's still
car-
not touching the bumper,
Yeah.
but it's as close like a piece of paper thin.
So your car never had a front license plate holder? No holes there?
It had it, but it was in the trunk.
But it's never been mounted.
No, there's never been
So it
any
must
holes
have
drilled.
come from a state that didn't have a front license.
Or someone like me who said, "Why
Yeah.
put the front
Right.
license?"
Stick it in the front windshield, right?
Yeah.
I think it spent its whole life in Virginia. I think so.
Oh, you need a front license plate there, I thought, don't you?
Yeah, maybe they just
Maybe-
chose not
maybe
to put it on.
Yeah.
Do you have front license plates on your cars?
I do.
All of them?
I do.
All my cars.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just a
definitely.
scofflaw
I don't want
here.
to be
Yeah.
pulled over
Yeah.
for a front license plate.
I think
What about you, Carl? Do you have front license plates?
Not on the 996, no.
Yeah.
Oh, so the 996, I do have the
But you have one.
But I have one. The only one I think I don't have is the 87 because I have a Euro plate holder on it.
The Euro plate
Have-
holders, you have a Euro plate on it,
I have a Euro plate on
but
it.
it's not doesn't mimic your numbers. On
No,
your,
no.
Well, it's as bad as not having one.
I've never had to drill my own holes. The cars have always come with a front license plate, including my Cayman.
Yeah.
So, maybe if I had to drill my own holes, I'd think
I feel
differently.
like you're an
but
individual that would be law-abiding citizen. And
I try. I mean, I've gotten pulled over for stupid stuff several times in my life. And why? It's just
And
it's a
here's
hassle.
Here's another good reason for you to have that front license plate, Manny, because if you drive that car down to DC and park it on a curb, DC will give you a no front license plate without you in the car and it just parked at the curb.
Yeah.
Since the last time I did that was probably over a decade ago, and when we go down to Arlington, which
Yeah.
is near DC, we usually take Roxanne's car, which has a front license plate. So I will,
Carl,
Yes.
how are you? And welcome to the Insider.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So it was your first time down to Amelia Island
Yes.
and the first time to Werks Reunion. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been in the auto business pretty much the last 35 years. I started in a Hyundai Subaru dealer back in the day, and then I also did vintage cars for Manhattan Vintage Cars in Rockville, and that was exciting. It was my first exposure to vintage Porsches, actually. We would sell Speedsters, 356s, 911s.
What year was that?
89?
Oh man. those prices that we dream of those prices, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you take the plunge into the Porsche world?
Called my gateway car was a 924 naturally aspirated, but with the M471 package.
Ooh.
So 5 lugs, sway bars, front and rear, disc brakes all around. That we saw, Michelle and I were on a drive in Pennsylvania, and it was in a used car lot with some minivans, one of those corner lots
Really?
that they sell everything. And I looked, I said, what is that? What's that doing there? So we pulled over, looked at it. It had been out in the sun a while. The paint was faded, but something about it. And then when I saw the 5 lugs, I thought, no, this is a little different. Ran the information on it, found out that it was a special car, even though it had the San Andreas Fault option for the dash.
Yes, as many of them do.
Yeah, and the interior, the seats were split, but it's still, what really got me, I opened the door on the passenger side, and then when I shut the door, it was that click.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
We can all hear how that sounds.
And it's like, wow, as neglected as this car has been, it still has substance, and driving it too. That nice weight balance front to rear, even though it needed all sorts of work, it was still there. The essence of it was still there, and that was it.
So do you still have it?
Yes.
You still have it?
Oh, very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Manny also cut his teeth on a 924 as well, right?
Yes, I don't have mine.
Yeah. And yours is it fully refurbished or?
It's mechanically refurbished. The suspension has been done, clutch, things like that. But from an aesthetic standpoint,
You kept the patina?
yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
yeah. And it's the interior, the seats, though, the correct, the separation at the seams on the driver's bolster needs attention because but they're so comfortable. It's like getting in, sitting in an old couch.
Yeah.
Just nestle in. And I don't know, it's just, every time I drive the car, it puts a smile on my face.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Tell us about the 996. What year is it and colors?
It's a 99 Arctic Silver.
99.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I've discovered since buying it that it's a little bit of a rare bird. That the 99s, you hear about them, but you don't really see them for sale. Usually they're a little bit later car. So this still has the cable actuated throttle.
Yeah.
Very simple. ABS. No traction control.
Does yours have the limited slip?
It does not, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah.
But it has, the interior was customized. So it has a nice Pepita interior.
Oh,
that
okay.
sets it off. When I saw it online, that's what really got me.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed it. GT Performance has done the Olin's Road and Track coilovers on it. Water pump, IMS, AOS,
All the
rear main seal.
all
It
the
sounds like
essentials.
Rob's car. Arctic
Yeah.
Silver 99,
Yeah.
Olin's
Yeah, but
coilovers.
yours has doesn't yours have the aero kit side
Yes.
skirts?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Which
Yes,
nice.
a partial. I don't have the taco spoiler.
Oh, okay. So
I
you
just
have
have
the
the
front,
side skirts.
Side skirts. You have the
And the bumper.
front bumper.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know the one thing on an aero kit car that I'm not a huge fan of, and I believe it's factory, is the rear sort of add-on rear bumper pieces.
Yeah, the little
they're like little
flick thingies
little
that-
flicky things in the
Yeah.
back.
You know they got to have
Agree.
a function.
I'm sure they do. I mean, Porsche wouldn't put it on unless they.
Yeah.
I saw those things very similar on the Taycan Turbo GT. We did the media trip, and they did a virtual. You put the little goggles on, and we could see the car, and they showed the airflow. And darn it, that little piece that looked like the 996 rear had a function. I asked the guy, I'm like, "What is this doing?" And he was explaining how it was diverting the air in the rear to minimize the turbulence. But just a little, it was about maybe 6x8, maybe 4x6 piece of plastic that was mounted. That was just a little gap, enough for air to get through, but it had a purpose.
Has a purpose, exactly.
I found that car to be very wind resistant to crosswinds. I've driven it out in very windy days, and because it's lower, it really doesn't get blown around. It's extremely sturdy in situations where an SUV, you'd be all over the place. That car just stays nice and planted.
Yeah, 99, 996. That's what I also have one, and I bought it to be a daily driver, and I've been a long time fan. It's kind of nice to see it get a little bit of spotlight lately.
Yeah, the 99s, it's what nobody wanted for a long time until they realized that it was different from the later cars. And now you can't, as you said, they don't come up for sale quite as often or for the prices you used to be able to get them for.
So buy 2000. It's going to be a lot cheaper and more updated.
Yeah, well, to be honest, right? Yeah.
So tell us, what made you decide to head to Amelia?
Okay. A few years ago, Michelle and I decided to go to Sarasota to watch the Orioles spring training. And as we're passing by, I thought, oh, Amelia Island, we're passing right past this. It's about the same time of year. Her birthday is March 9th. So that's why, we also plan a trip around her birthday.
Oh, cool.
And I kind of planted the seed, it's right around this time, the same time of year. So this year, she said, you're not going to believe what I'm about to say, but I wouldn't mind going down to Amelia this year. And I about fell over. And before she changed her mind, I'm looking up hotels.
Green light, green light,
Yeah,
green light.
green light. And, booked a hotel right on the beach, Seaside Inn.
Nice.
So we could see the ocean from our room. And we just went down, we drove down, about a 12-hour drive.
Yeah.
And it was great. The drive was drama-free. We left a little later to avoid DC traffic.
Yeah.
Got in about 1 a.m, but the hotel actually had somebody there, staffing, and it was perfect.
It's a pretty easy drive for us. Basically, you get on 95 and you stay on 95.
Yeah, it was
until you get to your Jacksonville exit.
It was 2 turns basically.
Yeah.
Hit Florida, make a left.
So, what was your expectation of Amelia?
Since I'd been to Rensport.
Oh man, that's a tough.
Yeah, I mean, it gave me somewhat of an idea
Yeah.
of like the celebration of the mark and everything else, and so I had high hopes that it would be just really an immersive experience, and it did not disappoint because even the corral, which unfortunately I did not get much a chance to get over to.
That happens to us every year.
We rarely get over to Corral, and there's so much to see.
Yeah. And I was looking at the judge cars, and I saw some members from Cars and Coffee, and caught up with them and talked, and we're looking at those cars, and just found it to be just as immersive as I thought it would be. The conversations, you walk up, you see something, oh, is this your car? And go.
Yeah.
And they fill you with all this knowledge about the history of the car, what they've done to it, who did the work. I even had the pleasure of running into some of the people that do the work from Sonderworks.
Sonderworks.
Yeah.
Or Sonderworks. Something different.
Yeah, in North Carolina.
Yeah, there once is
In Germany.
wishes.
Yeah.
Happened to be waiting in line for coffee with him. He talked about interiors, and we went back and forth. But that was the real thing, just being enlightened about all the different cars and their history. I like that about cars. The cars are one thing. The history, the stories, that's even greater.
For me, when I go to other shows and we're not quote unquote on duty, like I treat it almost like going to a museum where you can go to each car and learn a little bit of history about the car and the person. And to give an idea of the size and scope of Werks Reunion, you had an entire day, and you only got to the judge cars and the vendors, and you didn't have enough time to go over to see the crowd. That's how many cars and how much content is there to consume at Werks Reunion.
It really is. And my strategy next year, early. Get there really early as the cars are starting to arrive in the corral and just be more immersed. Unfortunately, we got in late on Thursday night, Friday morning, and so it didn't make it as early as I wanted to. But now it's set up a strategy for next year.
There you go.
And I would
next year already. Look at that.
Next year.
I would advise anyone considering to go, just get there early because there's so much.
Or you can volunteer. I've done this before. Volunteer to work the corral. They do it like a morning shift. And you get to see every car coming in.
The car comes to
and you
you.
get to talk to the people.
Yeah.
But if you're parking them as they're getting out of the cars,
Yeah.
and usually there's always like a lull. You can walk over and look at the cars and talk to the people, and you get a neat T-shirt, and I think you get lunch.
Yeah, and
We get there early because we have to. We're setting up.
in the dark.
In the dark, but because we get there early, we also all get to see how you can't replicate that, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. sort of hour at Werks Reunion, anytime later in the day. Like, people are just waking up. The cars you get to hear them as they're coming in. Usually some of the best cars come in, if not the day before, super early on the day of the event, like the Carrera GT. If you want to hear that, you better be there early because he's getting there early
Yeah.
to park it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
And it's not as crowded.
Yeah.
It's the sun is just coming. It's beautiful. With a little bit of mist off the ground. It's very serene.
yes,
And that's another thing too. That venue. Wow, how beautiful is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
With the river to one side, the golf course.
We had incredible weather this year, and more importantly, the no-see-ums didn't come out and then attack us as they did in the past. I think there was a couple that
Later
still
in the day.
still found Manny, but
the night before. The night before.
yeah, I still have
Yeah.
a couple
After the
little-
wind.
I mean, between
Yeah.
the cooler weather, the I guess the county spraying and the wind and everything, it was really a pleasant day.
Yeah,
And people stayed till the very end. The award ceremony was, I think, the fullest it's ever been.
Yeah, I think too. The time of year is perfect because it's still cool enough. You get some breeze. Yeah, the rain may play into things, but you can spend the whole day and not feel beat up by the sun or the weather. And you know,
Yeah, there's shade if you need it.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Was there a particular car or experience that you kind of jumps out at you?
There were a lot. I like 912s, and there was this, I believe, a '69 black on black 912 that was absolutely stunning, and it was I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the Monte Carlo 914-6. That I love 914s in orange plus one with that provenance.
Yeah.
That was really cool to see. There were a lot of cars. And some of the cars that aren't necessarily low production, but the colors they came in, that was fun to see.
Yeah, that was Manny's idea to highlight.
Is this that car?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
the car.
That's one. We'll put it up there, but it's it was one of the award winners, first place.
And you got to give it to someone to show a black car. Like, could
Yeah.
it be any tougher of a color to show? Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah, so Wednesday we were at Gooding and Company and at Broad Arrow going through sort of a preview of the cars. And, man, there were definitely Porsches to be seen.
And Gooding was very gracious to allow us to come in and do a video, which will come out a little bit later, of the cars they had auctioned off. Did you ever make the Gooding?
I did not.
No. So it's Gooding charged us to look at their preview cars. I think it's $50, and that gets you into the auction. It's good for all 3 days, the wristband. So we went on what was called a preview day, where they're not actually auctioning the cars. They're allowing people to come and inspect them and talk to the they're not called salesmen. I think they're called, forget the exact title. But anyway, the experts about the car. And I think Gooding's probably had the best selection.
They had a
of,
fantastic
of
selection
Porsches.
And a $6 million car, $6.3 million car.
So that was if you follow automotive news, you saw that that was a roof CTR, what they called the Yellowbird. Although people asked me if that was the original Yellowbird, and we said no. That the original Yellowbird has a NACA ducts, which is pretty easy to spot. That was in that famous film Fascination. But this is pretty much, other than that, it's the Yellowbird, and I think everyone was surprised at that price. And when we did our podcast previewing the cars going up for auction, at the time I think they were expecting $2 to $3 million. So somewhere in between when our podcast came out, they must have gotten interest because they jumped it up to $5 to $6 million in the estimate. So they must have gotten a lot of interest. And the way it works is the people from the auction house, they're calling all their contacts saying, hey, we have these cars coming up for auction. And a lot of times the contacts will tell them, hey, if you get a roof CTR, let me know. I'm interested in one. And as soon as they get one, they start putting the word out. So they must have gotten word that people are going to bid this high on the car.
Now, I know we're probably going through the prices of the cars that we previewed in a previous episode. I think David Whitlock's maybe going to come through.
Hopefully, we're going to have them up. We'll do a auction summary of Amelia and Moto Miami's RM auctions.
It was cool to see the cars that we were enamored with for the Broad Arrow auction as well. And I was there when one of our favorites, the 996 GT2, was going across the block.
Yeah, that was Broad Arrow.
And one of our members was actually bidding on it. So I kind of circled back to watch. him bid on it, and it was quite exciting. And we'll talk about the results later on that one.
Nice.
So the Gooding had a 904, which was any 904 is special. I think there was 3 of them on the island that I saw, which was really unique. They also had a Continental Cabriolet 356. Continental was a name that Porsche gave to this car that was only good for 1 year. Excuse me, they had, you know what they had? Actually, it wasn't a Continental. It was the name they replaced the Continental with. So 55 to come out with the Continental. Ford and Lincoln have a problem with that because they have a car named Continental as well. Mm-hmm. So they send the cease and desist. So for 56, same car, but they call it the European.
Yep.
Which they had here was the European Cabriolet. They had the 4-cam Carrera Speedster with the hardtop.
Yeah, that was
nice.
gorgeous.
Yeah. That was the red one?
Yeah. Which I'm not sure if I like speedsters with hardtops.
It's just cool because I've never seen one in person.
You see one.
Yeah.
They look cool, but it defeats the purpose of lightweight, I guess. Knowing how heavy those tops are.
Yeah, they're really heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I think our friend Rich would like it since he likes notchbacks, right? So it gives that notchback vibe.
Speaking of notchbacks, we saw the Butler 356
Yes.
there as well, and I think money no object, because I'm also thinking to own that car, it's going to be a headache unless you have the cash to make your own parts or know the right person, send it wherever. But it's the Butler 356 Coupe 1960. I think still was my favorite one at Gooding, and if I could walk away with one, it would probably be that one this time.
Really?
I mean, Yellowbird.
Yeah.
But if we took the Yellowbird out, that Butler Coupe was so cool. It's got this weird. I mean, it almost has like a BMW 2002 look, but it looks better in my opinion.
I know it's rare, but I think in the video, my face probably showed it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I love it. I think
I can't appreciate it. I guess I'm too simplistic. I can't appreciate
there's a reason 356 looks the way it does.
Yeah.
Not like that, right?
Yeah.
Well, you look at some cars, you go to the museum, you'll see some variations of the 911 that never made it to production, and you're like, oh my God, thank God that someone clear mind said we're not going to make
our
this
destiny would have been quite different if they had greenlighted that project.
So Erwin Comenda, who designed the 356, I think he nailed it the first time around, and the Butler Coupes, because you see a little bit of tail fin.
Yes,
which was popular at the time.
Sure,
but was it timeless?
I think on that car it was.
But my favorite was this ruby red. Is that what that red's called?
Yeah.
The 56 A, of course, which are beautiful cars. Carrera.
Yeah.
That would be.
That's like
for driving.
That's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. I mean, that's a gorgeous car.
So then after that, we headed to Broad Arrow, and if you've never been to Amelia Island, these are all within a few minutes of driving distance. So once you're on the island, it's kind of like Monterey without the heavy traffic. It's very easy to get to different venues within the island. And, of course, Ray Schaefer and Ramsey Potts were there to welcome us and
as always,
and give us pretty much free reign of the place to go. We filmed a second part of the auction video there. Any cars that stood out for you there?
For me, again, it was seeing the 996 GT2 and wondering why it was being offered at such a low price, or estimate, and then seeing that wildly modified 930 with the.
Yeah.
Remember that we started up? What was that? A Kremer or?
Yeah, I actually have it here. Let's see. It was the Koenig Special.
Oh, Koenig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one that was just. I mean, during its time, it probably looked pretty cool, but as Manny would say, time has not been kind.
Time wasn't kind. It does look better actually in person. When you. The camera doesn't do it justice. And
does he have the same? Does he need new glasses?
It's all beauty in the eye of the beholder.
It's not beautiful, but when you look at it in a still picture like that, you don't like the one on the sponsored content that Broad Arrow ran with us. You don't get to see it from behind with the wide haunches and then the exhaust starting up and all that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy it, just me, but it did look better in person. It wasn't as frumpy in my opinion. As
I would say though, after hearing its start,
Sounds fast.
I would love to drive it.
Yeah.
I would love to drive it and see if it really does back up its looks, because
Yeah.
it sounded pretty.
And
a
very evil.
boost knob right
Yeah.
behind the seats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounded pretty evil.
Yeah, very 80s,
Yeah.
what you would expect in the decade of excess to see at a place in Miami.
Yeah. How about for you? Was there a favorite for you at Broad Arrow?
I think I like the Porsche tractor because I got to sit on it. And I think it's the first time
We
I
asked. We asked
Yeah,
before
we
we
did, we
climbed
did.
on it.
Yes.
It was the one that we could actually bring home. It went for well, I don't know what the final price was, but the estimate was
30,000 was the
the estimate was quite
the estimate.
reasonable.
Yeah, it was. Of course, they had the 918. Yeah, it was. But the tractor was pretty cool.
Yeah. I bet we can guess what his favorite was.
Well, it had to be the 944 Turbo Cup.
Exactly.
Right.
Are we
Yeah,
correct?
the Turbo Cup, I think I said that's the one I'd probably take home from Broad Arrow before the auction, and being there and seeing it, it's still probably the one I'd take home because it's it's a real race car,
But
but it's street legal and not like, a dishonest street legal. This is
Yeah.
like, you can drive it on the street, it's perfectly fine. When can you do
So
that?
the question is the street legal everywhere, though?
I think this one is because it was road registered in Canada, I believe.
I have to ask Bob Miller because I thought he told me that when I asked him, he said it's street legal for me.
Well, not all. So what Ray was saying was not all 944 Turbo Cups were street legal when they were released, but the ones that went to Canada were.
because Canada registered
There's
them
some-
as street legal cars, and
Yeah.
you can import it as a street legal car.
Yeah. So
But
there's
in a car of that age now, with
probably no one
historic
would care, but-
historic tags availability and hot rod tags availability,
Yeah.
that car is streetable
Yeah,
for
for sure.
pretty much anyone.
But
Yeah.
that would probably be the one.
Did you ever make it to Broad Arrow?
I did not. That's the one thing we missed out on. I think we did some other things in those days. But next year, again, that's something I'm going to add.
That shows you how much goes on that
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I never made it to the actual Broad Arrow auction. Of course, we did the preview video. I kept on meaning to walk up to the hotel, which is just a short walk from the Concours field, because the golf course is right at the hotel, and I just ran out of time to go watch part of the auction.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, it was Saturday was kind of compounded because they moved
Yes.
Sundays, typically on Sunday, the Concours, to Saturday, which was the right move because on Sunday it was torrential rains. But that meant everything was packed on Saturday. The Concours, the Broad Arrow auctions, Radwood, and unfortunately they had to cancel the Cars and Community because that takes place on the same field as the Concours. But it was jam-packed Saturday, and it was decent weather Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday was absolutely beautiful.
But
Yeah.
Friday night,
Friday night.
Thursday night, we took Bogdan to Texas Roadhouse
Yeah, we
Steakhouse. For the first time, he had never been to.
I heard it was the best steak. And actually, I think you said it, Damon. It was the best steak ever.
Yes.
Was it because you were hungry, or is Texas Roadhouse
Yeah,
steaks
it
that
was
good?
very
Probably
good. I wouldn't say
combination of
best
things.
steak ever, but it's the best steak I've had in over a year.
Okay.
For sure.
And what cut would that be? What cut did you
Oh
order?
man, I'm so bad with. I think
Can
I
we
got
get
the
sirloin?
sirloin.
I think we
yeah,
got
Oh, no,
sirloin.
it was a sirloin this time.
no. Sirloins can
No,
never
well,
be
so-
the best steak. No.
I'm not a great steak eater because I don't like eating big globs of fat. So this time I'm like, I'm not going to do the New York strip. I'm not going to do, so sirloin it was, and it was so good. They cooked it perfectly.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And Bogdan got to try out the butter and the bread that they're famous for.
I love going out to eat with Bogdan because everything is a new experience for
Yes,
him,
yeah.
and he really appreciates what's in front of him.
I don't think it had like ribs before. Like
No, that was the first time he
ribs.
ate baby back ribs.
Last
Yeah.
week when we were on the road, he had ribs.
Yeah,
for
What I
us.
love
that's
is-
why.
Yeah.
Is if I'm not going to finish my meal, I know I don't feel bad about leaving because I can just say, "Do you want the rest of this?" And he just
His nickname really should be Hoover.
Yeah.
'Cause if you leave it on your plate for long enough and don't touch it, it's just gone.
Jim's got some competition.
even on the flight back, I picked up a ham sandwich. It was a really big ham sandwich, and I said, "I'm never going to finish this." But I thought to myself, I should give it to Bogdan. And Bogdan sat on the aisle. I was in the window, no one in between us. And so as soon as I opened it up, I nudged him. I go, "It's ham and cheese. Do you want it?" I think before I got finished unwrapping my half, he was already finished his.
To be young and have his ability to fix it.
So that was all Wednesday we just described. So Thursday for us is setup
Yep.
at Amelia Island, and we start early in the morning, and we basically unload that pod, and everyone knows what they have to do. The volunteers are usually laying out the field with their measuring tape. So every car has its place, especially on the judge field, and the volunteers in the corral are laying out the rows and rows of parking area for the cars, so it can run as smoothly as possible. And I think it went without a hitch.
Yeah, except for one of the suppliers put their truck in drive and then hopped out of it. And
I saw that.
The truck headed into the woods.
Yeah, Melanie wanted to. She goes, "I'm not going to be able to tell my story about the runaway porta pots."
Yeah, we'll tell it for her.
Yeah,
But we, here's the thing: is we do pretty much account for every space, every blade of grass, and everything is positioned. So for those of you that have reached out to us the night before and say, "Can't I just?" or "Can't I do this?" or "Can't I come and display?" or everything is accounted for, and it's not that we don't want to accommodate you, but if we were to try to do that, it affects something else. It could be the number of tents we have. It could be where we have sponsors parked and such like that. So please just understand that it's not that we don't want to take care of you, and I'm sure you have a special car, but we really do have everything placed purposely and accounted for.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah.
yeah, especially in the judge field. Everything I tell people, you can't sneak into the judge field because every single spot they know where every car is. Not like, well, we'll put the Caymans all here. They know exactly what Cayman, if Damon Lowney's coming, they know where Damon Lowney's going to park at.
And in fact, if they see a car in a spot that it's not supposed to be, it throws the judges off, and they're like, wait, are we supposed to judge this one? Are we not supposed to judge? So it's a very well organized and synchronized event, and we try not to upset it.
But it takes us to Friday morning.
Friday morning, we are there in the dark using the headlights of our rental cars to set up.
Yeah, fortunately, number one, it wasn't raining. Carl, you got lucky you picked this year, not last year. And it wasn't even dewy. Usually, your feet...
2 pairs of shoes you need.
Exactly.
I didn't have to break out the yellow boots.
I thought you did.
I brought them, but I didn't have to
I
wear
could have swore
them.
you were wearing them.
Did I wear them?
Yes, you did. You need no excuse to wear those things.
Maybe I did wear them for a little
Yes.
bit in the beginning. But then I realized I didn't need them, so I put on my regular shoes.
But yes, we arrive in the darkness, and we're not the first ones there. There's always members already waiting in their cars for to be parked first, and it's like hit the ground running. As soon as we get there, there's no time to lounge around. You're rushing because as every minute goes by, it means a minute closer to people arriving, and PCA people are notorious for arriving earlier than our official start time, which I'm just as guilty as the rest, because you want the best parking spot. You want to, get there and get settled in before the rest of the masses show up.
I think what the analogy that people often say is a duck. From the top of the water, you see a graceful duck gliding and beautiful. But for PCA staff, all the volunteers and such, we are just, our paddles are just going 100 miles an hour to make sure everything is smooth. And it's an event. There will always be something that's not perfect, but to the attendees, we try to make it look as perfect as possible.
And I'd heard from somebody that was there the day before on Thursday setting up that the wind was a factor.
Yeah, definitely. Wind was a factor. Some suppliers being late, and we just we're constantly adjusting.
We put paving stones in all the cardboard trash cans.
So they don't fly
So
away.
they don't fly away. Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And it worked.
I didn't see any flying trash cans.
And
like
you remember to
kites.
take the paving stones out.
And we put it back.
Yes, and we put
We
the
put it
ball
back.
Exactly.
What we love with the Amelia River Golf Course is they pretty much give us the key to the kingdom. We do our thing, but they trust us. When we give the key back, they're ready to golf the next day.
Yeah.
And I was happy. We last year we had an issue where someone lost their key and they left their car on the corral. And guess what? The next morning they start golfing. And so, yeah. So I'm getting the call. I'm getting the call Friday night. There's I forget what it was, a Cayman or a Boxster sitting on the fairway, and they're like, we golf in the morning, regardless of whether or not that car is coming out. So
New hazard on the green.
yeah, so kudos to the golf courses. They put cardboard and stuff and put it around, and we did find the owner.
Did we ever take a picture of that? That would be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. We definitely have pictures of it.
As a warning
Yeah.
to everyone, this is
Yeah.
what will happen to your car.
And so this year, while I was on stage numerous times, I said, make sure your car is off the course by 4:00, or golfers will be using it for.
You know, the thing about golfers, and I grew up playing golf and all that, is if you put something in their line of sight, that's what you aim for.
That's what you aim for.
That's what you aim for.
And hitting a Porsche is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, when else are you gonna?
It's like the driving range. You try to hit the cart that's picking up the balls.
But they last year they were super understanding about it. They knew it wasn't our fault. Turns out the person lost their key. And so they knew they needed to get the car off. They had a key FedExed.
Wow.
So they were not local.
So they were not even local. So it was just, and the thing is with the car being on the fairway, it's not like you could just put a wrecker out there and drag it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to mess that up. So anyways, but thank you everyone this year that attended. Nothing was left on the fairways, and that means a lot to us because we don't want to ruin the golf course's ability to kind of get back into its normal operations the next day.
Any favorites? So Werks Our event. We released a video earlier. It should be out on YouTube, where we cover all the 4 and 5 paint can. And for those who don't know what that means, PCA has a website called Rainbow, which covers all the colors Porsche's ever made, and they're ranked according to rarity. 1 being the most popular, least rare color. 5 paint cans being the rarest of the rare, the unicorn. So I went through the registration list, and I went through every single car in the judge field and got the 4 and 5 paint can. Did I get every single one in the video? No. So
Not possible.
Which it didn't take very long for people to comment. You missed mine. You didn't get this one. Damon has to do B-roll on these, and I know that if I tell Damon he's got 30 cars he's got to do, he will whack me in the head with the camera.
I don't know if 30 cars is possible one day, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
So we pick a certain amount that we know we could fit in the video, and that's what we. Plus, we had some other cool cars that weren't part of the unique colors that we felt we had to cover. But yeah,
that C Production 914
Yes.
was super, super cool.
Kudos to Manny and Damon for preparing all of that, and I thought this was probably one of the best Werks recap videos. It really captured the vibe of it all, and the inclusion of everyone that was participating. It was we couldn't have every single cool color or car, but it really did capture the essence of it all.
I think the pattern with this video is that were there like 3 close to gray or silver colors that happen to be really rare. So I almost thought the theme of this video was there were some pretty bright colors, loud colors, but what stood out to me was if you're a gray or silver enthusiast, this was your video. Like Mirage Metallic was one of them. I'm forgetting the names of the others, but that was a fun little thing that I noticed when I was editing.
Yeah.
So when you first walked into Werks, what you saw, and I'm sure if you scoured the internet for Werks Reunion photos, was a full-scale replica of the Hot Wheels 914 Safari.
Yeah.
That they made, the one little 64th toy. Someone actually made a real 914 to look like that.
Yeah. And none other than Don Leatherwood of Brumos fame drove it in.
Yeah.
It was super
Super
cool.
cool.
And Patrick Long was hanging around it. I saw him
really?
for
I
a
didn't
little
see him.
bit, and I saw him pictures too. He was taking pictures with the. So I think he has something to do with maybe Hot Wheels and
Perhaps.
that.
And he did with the
914.
944 Hot Wheels.
Well, I was about to say he does.
car
He,
that we did a video
he does
on.
have a relationship with them.
So yeah, it was a pretty accurate replica of the toy, which is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. And I think in the video you hear the car running, which sounds incredible.
Yeah, Don started it up with for the PCA Juniors judging event that was going on. So you'll see just this crowd of little kids who probably all love Hot Wheels, might even have that one, and they get to hear the real thing making its noises.
And no, Porsche never built a 914 Safari, nor do I believe they ever raced Safari, but This looks like something that would be really cool to bring to an off-road
it's legit
event to show off against the Cayennes.
And the weirdest compliment you could ever give to a 914 is that it looked like a truck in a good way.
Yeah. I think the hardware, what they chose, not only to build it to look like kind of the theme of that Hot Wheels, but it is a functional. It's got heavy duty hardware. It's got bead lock.
Looks like
rims.
a trophy truck.
Yeah, exactly.
And the flat six.
It's not a poser, right? It's not a poser. So.
Right in front of that, though, was the display for the Targas, because the Targa was the featured car for this year. Of course, Porsche, I believe, honoring the Targa as well. And so they had every Targa generation except the G model.
Yeah.
Because evidently, the person bringing the G model was involved in an accident or something, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that was the gaping hole that was missing. But other than that, they did have every single version, including the 996, the 993, 996, 997. Did they have all three of those? I think they did. Of the sliding Targa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was pretty fulsome. Yeah. And hopefully the person that got into the accident with their Targa, hopefully it's repairable. That's just breaks your heart to hear when they were about to be displayed too, you know?
Yeah. They had a 904, another 904, which I believe that won the kids' choice, the first place.
That was the BGB Cayman GT2 RS car.
That one?
Yeah, that one.
Really? Oh, I thought it was the 904.
Which I have to say, like, if I could, and I believe, hopefully, we get to cover this car, but I know that it's leaving BGB next week for California, and not Florida. It won't live in Florida, but that car, it's a 981 with a 991 Turbo S motor, which is basically the GT2 RS motor and PDK transmission and a Cayman. So Cayman GT2 RS.
Yeah, it looked pretty sick.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the details of it, but like you said, I hope we do get to cover it because it looked wild.
Yeah, open the frunk or the hatch, and then it has the Cayman GT4 RS style intakes through the windows and a lot more. So it's crossing fingers.
All right, we talked about the day. Anything else you want to add on the day of Werks Reunion?
We saw a real GTS finally. Michael Tam brought the GTS and was showing everyone everything and anything about it.
GTS T Hybrid.
Yes, the T Hybrid. The battery, all the features it had. I thought it was a really sharp-looking car in Lugano blue. Was that the color?
Lugano
blue. And I saw night vision. Because everyone's seen the little thing that looks like a camera on the front bumper for the cruise control. But there was another little camera-looking thing, and we asked him what that was, and he said night vision, and he showed it to us. Even in the daytime, it's pretty impressive. It looks like infrared vision.
Yep.
And he said it actually saved him because he was driving it around the Atlanta area, and it spotted 2 deer before he did. And it came up right on his dash, showing the 2 deer in the woods, and he was able to slow down. And he said otherwise, he said I wouldn't have seen the deer.
So Michael is the product manager for Porsche sports cars, and let's just say I would say it's not hard to impress, but he's driven not only Porsche sports cars, but he's driven other makes to compare them. And to see how giddy he is about the T hybrid system, because it's not hybrid in the sense of what you think in terms of like Prius and fuel economy and stuff like that. No. He loves it because the electric powertrain kind of fills in where the ICE engine has sort of dips, and he's over the moon about it. I mean, like I said,
he's a Porsche enthusiast.
He is a Porsche enthusiast, and he doesn't just like it because it's Porsche. He truly is a car person, and he says, "Ooh, this thing's got instant torque where even a good ICE engine has to rev up a little bit. Like it fills in." And he was talking about all the different features on the car.
I just want to start one up because I hear, like he was telling us, that it just starts instantly. There's no cranking.
There's no starter.
It's just boom. It's on.
No starter, no belt.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's We're like at the peak of internal combustion engines right now, as far as reliability and efficiency. But he also stressed how little bit of extra weight this thing added to. And I guess the only way to spot them is, how you can spot a T hybrid. You've probably seen it, and not realized it.
No.
Is those front grills?
That's what I was going to say, which
they're,
I love because
they're vertical,
they
not
look so good.
Yeah.
And I say that with no sarcasm. I think they look awesome.
I don't dislike them, but they are a bit much for me. And I like them because of the functionality of it and how much air, and it's actually it's active. So I can appreciate that, but it's a bit much of louvers for me. Yeah.
So the Werks Reunion display as we were discussing is so big that you had the two fairways, plus you had another big patch of grass where we had even more cars, and that was where the food trucks were.
Yeah.
What was great was I saw a lot of people setting up their own little picnics and doing what we had originally hoped when we did Werks Reunion, is just hanging out for the day, just relaxing. No high stress for judging. It was simply just hang out, and evidently the food vendors were thrilled.
Yeah,
because I know we got to the taco truck at 1:30, and he was out of almost everything. So he was trying to cobble together meals.
We always get feedback, and trying to judge how many food trucks you need is kind of tough, because if it's great weather, then there's going to be a lot of people buying a lot of stuff. If it's not so great weather, and of course you're sensitive to them making money as well. I think we maxed out our food trucks this year, which was good for them. And of course, that means there might have been lines, and or food trucks maybe have ran out of food early. So we constantly try to measure that, and we'll try to bring the right amount of food trucks. But just know it's not an exact science.
It was interesting. Carl said you didn't make it over to the corral. Well, Joe Heichel, who was on the show earlier, one of our earlier episodes, he said that he spent 3 hours in the corral before you even came over to the judge area, just looking at the cars and talking to the people. So it's easy for time to fly. You need to get stuck in one section looking at cars. It's and
it's one where you don't want to just kind of do a flyby. Like, you want to take your time and enjoy and meet the people. So if you've got 500, 600 cars in the corral, a minute with each person adds up.
And I found myself when I saw the owner of the Carrera lightweight, the Club Sport.
Oh yeah,
and it was the original Club Sport. I spent maybe half an hour going over the car, and then some gentlemen from FCP Euro came over. They made a video of the car. I happen to know them from past business dealing, and we just hung out with him. There's just so much to know, and there's so many details and so much history that when there's a number of cars, I have a problem of just getting stuck in one section and never making it, and that was definitely the case. Yeah. So
I have to ask, the FCP Euro videographer, was he really tall?
Yeah, he was.
Maybe was his name Alex? If not, all good. I'll have to ask him. So if Alex was there, I wish I could have sent hi. So.
Yeah, well, I know Nate Brown from when he was at NGP. Dealt with one for VW Audi parts.
Small world.
Yeah, it is, and that's another thing too. It is such a small world that you find a connection when you go there. You talk to somebody, and you just make connections too, and that was nice. I met some really great people from the Kansas City region. Yeah, talked with them, and just it's so easy. You show up. It's understood. You're a car enthusiast, especially Porsche, and it just goes from there. And I could spend 2 days there easily, because with the corral cars and everything else. But I really enjoyed engaging with the other members, and you feel a real part of everything.
Yeah.
And anybody who's even a little bit shy or not so, doesn't matter. People are so friendly and willing to share information, or if you have a question about how they did something, it's just a wealth of information.
Cars are the ultimate icebreaker, right?
They really are.
Yeah. I do have to give a shout out to Laura and Stacy, who work here, who were kind of thrust into managing the store because Charlotte and Charlene, who you usually see at the store, had to stay back because of us being low in member services personnel. So, Laura was
they crushed it.
Trained by fire, if you will.
They crushed it,
and they did. They crushed it. They were smiles the whole day, and they sold out of I think the only thing we had was a handful of medium shirts for event shirts. All the 70th anniversary, PCA anniversary grill badges were sold that we brought. I believe you can buy more.
All the 70th anniversary shirts were sold out.
Shirts. It was great packing up because there was hardly anything to pack up to take back. It was just empty boxes
Half a
we
pod.
had to break down.
Half a pod.
Yeah, exactly. So kudos to them, and of course to all the volunteers, Tom and Sandy Pervasi who chaired the event. Of course, Melanie Williams from our staff, who's events manager.
Make sure you say that.
Yeah, yes. Oh my God. Somebody made a mistake asking me if I run the events, and I got the same look from her as I get from my wife when I say something inappropriate. I'm like, I didn't say I was events manager.
Yeah.
But anyways, everyone did a phenomenal job. Which I guess we also should mention, thanks to Haggerty for inviting us to their Thursday night party.
Reverie.
Reverie.
We.
Okay, Elmer Fudd.
Which was held at the Ritz. A lot of beautiful people, great food, drink. I did not stay long enough. I couldn't wait in the line, but Vu did stay long enough to get his free fedora.
Yeah, a free chapeau.
Yes.
He's going to join a ska band pretty soon here.
Exactly.
I kept on asking myself, am I ever going to wear this hat that I'm waiting
should've
evidently
worn it-
2
I
hours
should've
in
worn it
line?
today.
You should. I should have to send us a picture of it
Yeah.
if you wanted before we put out the podcast. But then Sunday was, of course, the Amelia, and as Boo articulated, they had to move it because there was heavy monsoon-like rain expected on Sunday. And kudos to the Haggerty team for doing that, because I think that was an excellent idea. It was bad news for those who drove down to show their cars off at the Cars and Coffee, which would have happened on Saturday. I know because I've shown my car off, and I would have been disappointed, but I would have also understood because
Absolutely.
no one wants to do the concours in the rain or be a spectate. It's just miserable for everyone involved. Last year, it kind of rained. It wasn't fun. So the weather was pretty awesome. It was, and plus they had Redwood right next door. Any favorite cars at the Amelia car that you had?
Yeah, I'm a big James Bond fan. So the recreation of the DB5 with all the gadgets working.
That was crazy.
That was
working gadgets?
Yeah,
When
all
they
of
were
them.
firing off the guns, like everybody wanted to duck. I mean, that's I'm like, why are there gun sounds going off?
Now, while they're firing up the guns, I did not realize that was going on. So the first time I heard it, I remember I worked in Baltimore City for 12 years, so I know what gunfire sounds like.
PTSD.
So I looked around to say, I'm seeing, my first thought was, there's woods about 10 yards away I can run into to hide. But no one, I'm looking around, who else is going to run? But you could see the look on people's faces like, should we be running now? Because no one knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And then, so no one panics. Everyone
Yeah.
kept, then like 30 minutes later, same thing.
Yeah.
And I assumed maybe it's construction. Later on, I found out it was the guy with the James Bond replica car firing off. Evidently, the police were called because the neighbors were calling, saying they were hearing guns. Well, in a
They
land,
probably don't hear that in
in a
Amelia
land
Island
and
all
time
that
of
much.
active shooters.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, sure.
you hear that, and then that's pure panic. So the police showed up and wanted to know.
Not
what
only
the,
did it have
gunfire
guns, but
was.
it had the smoke screen too. So he had fired off the smoke. So now you see smoke billowing up. You're
yeah.
like, what the heck?
I thought that was
a
a
lot
food
of-
truck. I could see the smoke coming up, and I'm like, I wonder what they're cooking.
Manny's like, should I run? But there's a food truck over there. I am kind of hungry.
Run to the food truck.
Means they're searing some steak.
Risk versus reward.
And
Yeah.
then they even did, which was surprising to me, they did the spikes that come out, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
jacks.
Yeah.
On the, like, where cars are going to be running through. I'm like, I hope they pick up every single one, because
Yeah.
that would be awful if somebody ran over one of those.
Yeah.
The oil, they even did the oil.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yep,
Yeah.
they did the oil. Of course, the rotating license plate. I think they did the bulletproof screen that pops up in the back.
Yeah. But what about the ejection seat?
You know, they had the roof removed, but they did
Okay.
not demonstrate.
They didn't demonstrate
Yeah.
that.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
for some strange reason, they couldn't find any volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
what a
their-
cool car.
Their insurance said no way. The one I was really impressed with, and I would love learning new things, and with PCA in the Porsche world, I always learn new things. So I walked by, I get there early because I got a media pass, and I'm doing a quick run through to see what cars I want to come back and look at. And I passed by the Road Scholars cars and saw a couple cars. I said, I'm going to come back and look at them. the one that I kind of dismissed was what I thought was a wrapped 930 with black matte wrap. But as I'm in another part of the course, it stuck in the back of my head, and I thought, why would road scholars bring a wrapped car? So I went back to see what's the story on this, and turns out it wasn't a wrap. It was factory black matte paint from 1975, which I never knew the factory did that.
Yeah.
It was a special order car that they had to convince the factory to do. It was restored. I think it was painted a different color, so they had to repaint it. And I spoke to the painter, young gentleman, and he told me him and another painter did it at the same time. It was super stressful. Their hardest thing was sucking all the dust out of the room because you can't go back and wet sand it. It's got to be perfect on the first shot. And it was. I mean, I looked over this car everywhere, and even the door jambs, the engine, inside the engine compartment, all flat black. Surprisingly, the centers of the Fuchs wheels were shiny, were gloss. But everything else flat black. He even said he told the guys, do not wipe it down because there was a couple of raindrops from the morning dew. They told them leave everything alone because they can scratch so easily, even if you run a microfiber cloth on it. But it was stunning. That was my favorite car.
Decades
Very
before matte colors got popular, right?
Way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Michelle's the one who spotted that car when we were walking past it because I just saw it at the corner of my eye and I thought, same thing, maybe a wrap or something. She goes, yeah, that's my favorite.
Very cool.
And yeah, she really thought that was something. And I kind of dismissed it, I'll be honest. And then when I heard about the one of one and all the things, I thought, I should have taken a closer look.
I also had a 911 ST that did not have the front flares. And every ST that I've seen always has the front and rear flares, like an RSR. So I was speaking to the owner, and he said these were the STs that were set up for road rallying. So the rallies ones had a narrow front, not the road racing ones had the wider fenders, but they wanted the more narrow wheels for the rallies. So that's
Interesting.
It was a real ST, but with the a different bodywork than I was used to. They had the Toad Hall R 911S that Bruce Jennings drove. Another 904. It was roof had a big display. Yeah, it was definitely Porsche heavy.
Yeah, so kudos to Haggerty making the right decision. I think people still were able to have fun even though it was compressed, and they still had an impressive display of cars and wrapped it up. And Sunday, we actually went back to the golf course to make plans, believe it or not, for next year's show. So that we'll be prepared to host you and your wife next year.
Yeah, and highly recommend it. Anybody that's on the fence about it, thinking, it's just a lot of other things to do if you bring your family down. There's lots on Amelia Island. Fort Clinch was really cool. There's just a lot to do. It's not cars or nothing.
Yeah.
And it's a great place. I highly recommend it.
And it's easy to get into places for
Absolutely.
dinner, for lunch.
Yeah.
As much as I love Monterey, it's very cool that Amelia, you don't have that level of stress of trying to make sure you get a reservation and there's plenty of places to go, plenty of places to stay.
Yes.
So yeah, if you haven't done Werks Reunion Amelia or the Amelia weekend or week as they call, there's lots to do, lots of things to see for a reasonable price.
Yeah, lots of ways to approach it, and family friendly too. That's another thing. The kids judging was great. It's good to see that, and it just definitely a lot to do.
Well, thank you for joining us, Carl. I want to remind people to be sure to head over to PCA.org to sign up for PCA's newsletters, performance news, e-brake news, and Mart Fresh, all free. And at this point, I'd like to introduce another special guest, although she's here with us every day, Melanie Williams, our National Events Chair. To the table, let's welcome Melanie Williams, PCA's, in case you've ever wondered, National Events Manager.
Yes, that is me, not Manny Albin.
Look, we sincerely apologize. Sometimes we are recognizable at events, and we talked about earlier, there's many people that make things happen, and unfortunately, some members don't realize that.
Well, that's because my name was listed as a contact name for Tech Tactics and Unstock because obviously I help out. I am not the events supervisor.
He is not. He is not.
And we will give credit where credit is due for PCA national events from the headquarters side. None of that stuff would ever happen. We would be lost. We would not have all the essentials for an event if it weren't for you, Melanie.
Thank you. Thank you.
But by the same token, when the taco truck runs out of chips, it
is my fault.
It's really blamed.
Yes.
She does. It is a thankless job sometimes, and you get when things are running well, people are just happy and going and doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when the chicken is a little cold or they're running out of chips, we hear about
Did
it.
you think it was a bad omen when you saw the trailer of porta pots going down the fairway with no one behind the wheel of the truck?
It was one where you know you've done this too long because you're like, that's happening right now. Christina's like, you didn't even like look concerned, and I was like, really, nothing I could do.
Not your truck.
Yeah.
But the driver running after his truck was more concerned.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I was like, yeah, it'd eventually stop. It's fine.
And porta pots went where they needed to be,
Yep.
and tents go up, and we keep moving along.
Yep. No attendees knew. Well, until now.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Porsche Parade. I'm excited. This is our 70th anniversary year. We're going to be celebrating it in Oklahoma City. It's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful hotel. We've got lots to do. So we thought, or Manny thought it would be a great idea to bring you on and just kind of share with folks what to expect.
But you can still register for the event.
You can
Oh,
still
absolutely. Absolutely. There's still room at the hotel, which is the Omni Oklahoma City. I had never been to Oklahoma City before this, and it is one of the cleanest cities I've ever been to. And it's very safe, very beautiful, and lots of history there with, people migrating towards the west years ago. But there's plenty to do this year. The concours, once again, will be inside, which is awesome.
And Concours Prep will be
and
inside.
Concours Prep. And the Corral is back at Concours.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you'll be able to
Okay.
register for that in phase 2, which is exciting.
What's a corral?
What? You don't know
Well,
what
this is
Corral
this is
Yeah.
I'm
this is
trying to
new
lead
for
you into a
Parade.
question here,
Oh.
Melanie.
So,
He's feeding you. He's feeding you.
So-
Melanie's not used to this.
right. Much like anywhere else you go where there's a corral, you can register your Porsche and be out there, and I think they'll try to do it by model, so you can be with the other 964s or the other 993s and just be out there and
So is it separate from judging, kind of like Werks?
Yes,
Like you have a judge
separate.
class. And
No
you have sort of
judging. Almost like a tailgate of Porsches, if I had to use a sports reference.
So the corral parking is where the tailgaters are.
Yes.
The judge parking is where the toothbrushes are.
Yes, that's a
But this is
good.
pretty
I see.
impressive. So they're going to be able to fit all these cars indoors?
I think the corral's outside
Okay.
in the parking lot, but the concours prep and concours will be inside. There's also a plan for a corral on Thursday night on Automobile Alley,
That would be cool.
which is where the old 1930s, 1940s car dealerships were. And of course, they've closed up, but the neon signs are still there, and they've become like hip restaurants and entertainment places. So,
That's probably my favorite area of Oklahoma City.
Yes.
And hopefully we will line the streets with Porsches and the neon at night with the neon lights,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very cool. All the what do they call it? The facades of the dealerships are still there.
Still there.
There was a protected historical buildings, but inside is where you find all the cool foodie spots.
Yep. It's almost like that scene in Cars
Yep.
where it's like a ghost town, but it's not a ghost town. You still have that image, and you can think back. Well, we can't think back. We weren't there, but we can imagine what it was like. And then it's, it's modern with
Yeah.
all the food, and the food there is great.
Can you share with us what we're planning for the 70th anniversary? What will people see?
Yes. So the 70th anniversary, we will have a museum, which Linda Goodman has been working very hard on, and that will be inside hospitality. So all inside. Also, the historics display, which Lori Schutz has been working on, will be based around the 70th, and it's the people that made PCA and the cars made for America, Porsches made for America. So two themes, but it will definitely go to our history. And then Linda will be doing some seminars, just talking about the history and lots of other things in store that our
Sounds like the
surprises.
RS America is going to finally get its due.
I think so. I think so.
A real RS Porsche made just for America.
Or the base Cayman that you built for America autocross.
And Manny's just sitting there.
No, I'm thinking you got
okay.
the America Roadster.
Yeah.
America Roadster too, yeah.
GTS America. Is that what it was called?
Oh, that one,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, she has some really special cars lined up. It's going to be a fun display for sure.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is when we go to a new city, or even go back to a city that we've been before, like the recipe for parade is quite elaborate and comprehensive. And not all locations are ideal. Like there's a little bit of give and take with each place that you go, but I feel with Oklahoma City, it's quite ideal because they have the space, the hotel and the exhibit hall. This is one thing in Birmingham. You know, we had the exhibitor area showcase across the street, which is only, one block
Right.
across, but it really disconnects things. We made the best of it, but here in Oklahoma City, all that's together. And I
Yep.
think the vibe that creates is a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, and you have Route 66, which is iconic. I think it's called the Mother Road or one of those things. But, I mean, you're 2 hours from Texas, 3 hours from Arkansas, 2 hours from Kansas. So some of the drives are just going to be amazing. Obviously there's other routes too, but, Route 66 is iconic.
Yeah, I think when we were at the National Staff Assembly and talking about how many Texas folks will be coming to Oklahoma City, I was guessing 300 would be tops, and there's a little challenge out there for Zone 5 to bring 300 some people. I think they're like 350, 375 just
Yeah.
from Zone 5.
Yeah.
Time to change the rules up it to 500.
Yeah.
So-
They're a competitive group.
Yeah, so it'll be cool to see. What other, we have exhibitors, we have seminars.
Gimmick Rally.
The Gimmick Rally,
Ellen
yeah.
Beck has done a great job. It's going to be Get Your Kicks on Route 66. So obviously that's a fun event. People love the Gimmick Rally, and you'll see some great things. There are some landmarks in Oklahoma City that are just amazing. There's one, and I'm not sure where it is. I've got to find, but it's
Amazing.
it's amazing. The word of the
Yes,
day.
yeah.
It's always the word of the day.
Yes. Well, there's some landmarks that are stunning.
Let's see how long that lasts.
Yes, there's one that is. It's not even life size. It's a huge, the lamp from A Christmas Story. Yes, it looks like it's 2 stories tall. So I'm not sure if that's on the Gimmick Rally, but I want to get there and see it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Was A Christmas Story, did it take place there?
No, that was in Indiana, I think.
Okay.
Indiana or Chicago? Indiana, I think.
What's that?
We're going off topic big time
Christmas
here.
Story.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know.
I will be Googling it later,
Yeah,
though.
but the lamp's there.
Yeah, the lamp is there. It's super cool.
But it's not the real lamp if it's 2 stories tall.
No, it's not. No, it's probably much sturdier, too. You probably can't break this one.
And we'll be it'll be just after July 4th, but it'll be the July 4th weekend.
Yes.
So would I assume that there's going to be fireworks somewhere?
Oh, yes. So if you get in early on July 3rd, Scissortail Park, which the Omni overlooks, gorgeous park. I think it's like 70 acres or something crazy like that. And Scissortail, funny, it's a bird. I was trying to figure out, it didn't look like a scissor, and scissors don't have tails. But anyway, yeah, I was like, why is this called Scissortail?
Nice.
Google helped me.
And we've only had her on the podcast like once or twice.
Right. Yeah.
So we got to correct this. Christmas Story is filmed in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Okay,
Before
Ohio.
people start hammering us for
Yes.
Indiana. I was close.
And Scissortails are birds, but it overlooks. So on July 3rd, they have Red, White, and Boom. So there will be a fireworks show, and then I'm assuming on July 4th, obviously,
Yeah.
there'll be fireworks somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. I know we have invitations out, and we're hoping to host Hans-Peter Porsche, Mark Porsche, Sven Bossow from Tromworks, Hans-Peter Porsche's lead person at his museum, and maybe some other Porsche leadership and or significant employees from
Yes.
AG, and of course from Porsche Cars North America.
And Porsche will be having test drives at the Autocross on Thursday. So the Autocross is also at the Oklahoma City Fairgrounds, and they'll be doing test drives out there on
That
Thursday.
is very cool
Yeah.
because that doesn't happen all the time. And to be able to drive someone else's Porsche in an autocross, even if it's a smaller course than the real autocross, is pretty cool.
My love for the 718 Cayman, the turbocharged cars, happened at Boca Raton Parade when they had, I believe, Porsche and Michelin brought two 718 GTSs with the turbocharged flat 4, and they had a little mini autocross next to the autocross. I can say that you could push as hard as, like, if you're a good autocrosser, they're going to let you push, like a good autocrosser will. And that's how I discovered how great the handling of those cars were, and that the engine was awesome, and it got a lot of flack. So, yeah, wait until you drive, go to Parade, drive these cars at that autocross, and that is such a treat. It's been 4 or 5 years since we've had that.
It's a big commitment to bring cars to Parade, not only for display, but obviously to run them for members to sign up. I think they're going to do advanced signups once you have a registered Parade. They'll send a note out, and they'll have time blocks that you can sign up for. But as you said, it's a great opportunity to experience these cars in a driving condition. And same thing, not a Cayman, but driving a Taycan. All these opportunities at Parade.
Yes, yes. And Phase 1's open, so you can still get in and register and get your hotel rooms. And Phase 2 will open in early May. And it's going to be, obviously, with the new registration system, there'll be another tutorial. But the system, if you've noticed, if you've registered for Phase 1, it's amazing. It's so much easier.
Ding.
Ding.
Ding. Oh, I did it again.
There we go.
But Phase 2 will be equally as
And Phase 2 is where you select. So Phase 1, you just register, and they give you a code to get your hotel room.
Yep.
Phase 2 is the biggie because that's where you pick all the stuff you're going to do. And with that said, you do not have to stay the whole week if you don't want to. You can stay as short as you want, as long as you want. I know a lot of first-timers here a week, and they're like, "Ooh, that's a lot to commit to." But I always tell them, believe me, it's a lot of fun. But I can understand the hesitation of going for a week on anything that you've never been to. But things move really fast, and it's kind of like you rest after Parade.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's car stuff from beginning to end. And you don't have to do all the events. I tell them it's like Disney World. Don't try to do everything in one day. Space it out. Don't worry if there's downtime, because it's impossible to do everything that Parade offers because things overlap with each other. Plan on just hanging out in hospitality a day and just enjoying the city of Oklahoma. It's much more relaxing than to try to get in every single event.
Yeah, and if you can't be with us the entire time, if you could do half of it, it's still definitely worth your while. I've never seen anyone say that I didn't wish I came for that short. They always say that I wish I had the time to stay later, but half the time is also, I would say, front load it, so that way you can have the welcome party, the concours banquet. There's and maybe even a little bit of autocross on Wednesday if your car is a stock vehicle. But yeah, even if you can't stay the whole time, it's still worth it to go.
You don't have to stay at the host hotel.
You don't.
I get that asked a lot. There's an advantage to staying at the host hotel because a lot of stuff happens there. So, but if you want to get an Airbnb or you've got points at whatever hotel chain that's not on our list and you want to stay there, then by all means. But being able to stay at the hotel and just come down from your room into the lobby or into any of the meeting rooms where hospitality is a nice thing to have.
You definitely don't have to, but I would say this year especially, the hotel is very nice.
Yes.
And we have a very good rate.
The rates are great.
Yeah, so it'd be, and at some parades I can see why staying off site would, be appealing for folks. But we have a lot of reasons for you to stay at the hotel.
And if you're saying, "Ooh, Oklahoma City, it's too far to drive," I've had as much fun flying to a parade without a Porsche as I've had driving and having a Porsche. And I know a lot of people find that hard to believe. But consider like Werks Reunion, where we just had Carl on earlier today. He didn't bring his Porsche to Werks, but he still had a blast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is, as he said, with Werks, the same thing with Parade is the people. And if actually, there's nothing that's much fun as going down to Concours Prep, knowing you don't have to clean a car, but just hanging around talking to the people cleaning cars. It's very relaxing watching other people clean the cars, and you'd be amazed how quickly time goes by as you just walk around talking to people about the cars. And they usually appreciate the break from cleaning the car to talk to someone who's a fellow enthusiast. But you can easily rent a car. You can do the gimmick rally with the rental car.
Yep.
And
you can do
enjoy
tours.
Parade. Yeah.
You can do tours. And there are plenty of people with extra seats on tours, and I've done that too, where I might have a couple hours and I'll hop in the right seat or even the back seat of a Cayenne or a Macan to go on a tour for a little bit. So you can get your Porsche fix even flying in. And actually, everyone at this table usually flies in. And
I've been driving.
You've
been driving them. But
and my question actually is, so I've got my Porsche Cayenne, and I have my Cayman. Assuming I don't have a tow hitch installed on the Cayman, which one should I bring? I always love the autocross, but I don't think I'll autocross the Cayenne with the tires it'll be on, and I'm having some trouble.
I
here.
autocrossed my Cayenne with
on my all-weather.
Well, think about how many Cayennes do you think will be autocrossing?
None, probably.
No, there will be.
There
will be.
A handful.
Sure. There's always competition, but there will be less competition.
You know what would be fun?
Yeah.
Beating all the other faster Cayennes in the V6 Cayenne.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Goals.
Yeah.
We'll see. Goals.
I trophied with my 914 using the stock skinny 165-15s because at the time the rule was I couldn't use my 205-50s that I usually autocross with. So I had these Michelin stock all season. And I said, you know what? I drove all this way, which ironically was in Oklahoma back then in '96. I said, I'm just going to be able to autocross to say I autocrossed.
Yeah.
I get third place because 3 people get protested for cheating, and they get kicked out of their class.
Oh.
And it moves. I finished butt last, but it moved me up.
Nice.
And then I trophied because when I got home, somebody said, "Oh yeah, I brought home your trophy," and I'm like, "Trophy for what?" He goes, "For autocross." I go, "For last place?" And he's like, "No." He goes, "You got third." And then I found out that because of protests and everything, it moved me up to trophy position. So you never know.
Yeah. So speaking of trophies, because it's our 70th anniversary, I can tell you that there will be a very special trophy for those that placed this year. So that in itself will be a reason to go because it's going to be a very aesthetically pleasing trophy, but it also has a tie-in with someone that is quite famous in the Porsche world.
This is true.
Yeah.
Maybe I should bring the Cayman.
Yes. Yes.
But would you be more competitive in your Cayman or would you be more competitive in your Cayenne?
I don't know. I'm usually pretty competitive, but in the class.
In your class?
Well, I was the only one in my class last year.
Oh, really? Oh, because you ran
maybe I should.
You ran modified last year?
Yeah, my car isn't very classable in PCAs. So yeah, we'll see. I have some thinking to do.
Yeah.
So Melanie, maybe putting you on the spot here for someone that's considering to go to Parade, what's the cost?
It is. I should know this offhand, but I have. It is $280, and that covers your primary registrant and your co-registrant. So that is to register and for Parade. So that's your registration. You get your bag, your parade book, your name badge for both you, your registrant, and your co-registrant. And then after that, all the fees for the events should be up ahead of phase 2, so you can sort of price it out and figure out what your total all-in cost is.
Do events or activities cost roughly the same? Is there like a ballpark figure you can expect? Roughly,
actually,
like are they usually on the $50 or $100?
A lot of the fees are up. Autocross is $80, Concours is $80.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, gimmick rally is only $40. The highest one is the golf tournament, and that's $220. And then TSD is $45, and the technical and historical quiz is $20.
What about the tours?
Not bad at all.
I don't know if the tours are up yet.
They usually include lunch.
Yeah.
They
So
do
you have to
include
factor
lunch.
that.
Yeah, they should be up within the next 3 weeks,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And unlike the rally, the tour you can do by yourself if you want, if you're coming solo.
Yes, you
The
don't need a
rally,
navigator.
you definitely need a navigator, but there's bulletin boards up in hospitality for, you can buy tickets for banquets that people ordered but couldn't go. You can buy, people put used parts and cars for sale, and then there's a bulletin board, people looking for like navigators. or they have an extra seat for the tour that you can. Trust me, if you want to do the rally and subject yourself to that, there's plenty of people that either want you to drive or want you to be their navigator.
Yep, and all the banquet pricing is up. The menus aren't up yet. I think they're finalizing them within the next 2 weeks, but all the pricing is up, which is good. So you can already start. Besides the tours, you can really get a good game plan right now.
And if you haven't looked at this a la carte pricing and or options for Parade, I would suggest you look at it very carefully, very thoroughly before Phase 2 opens, because there are some tours or some events that are limited in capacity.
Yes.
And so you want to make sure you get in and quote unquote grab those and check out as soon as you can so that you can get your spot in there. Because some of it, if you lollygag while you're registering,
Yep.
it might sell out in the moments that you logged on and finally paid for the transaction.
Yep, and you can go in and you can get, your wish list right away, and then you can go back in and add some things that you know are going to be there, like banquets. And it's not cheating; it's just strategically working. Strategy.
The Parade registration system is probably the most complicated that I've come across, and I've been to a lot of events. And the reason why is because it's really built for the attendee. We want them to have the ultimate flexibility and choose your own adventure, as those books, like you get to choose what you want to eat, where you want to eat, which tour, if you're going to drive, what class. I mean, lots of data that you've got to put in. It does take a while, but that way you have people love one of one or one of two experience. That's Parade.
Yep, and I do suggest if you are looking, to register, but you haven't registered for Phase 1 yet, you can do it during Phase 2, but I would go ahead and get that done. That's one more step you've knocked off your list when you go back in.
Yeah, and for Phase 1 registration, is that the initial $200?
$280.
Or $280, yeah.
$280, yep. That's the only charge you would get the first time.
And the committee's meeting, once a week or every 2 weeks now?
Oh, we have at least 2 meetings a week. So we're once a week. And then all the different committees meet separately, too.
And we do have, in case we sell out the host hotel, I believe we have satellite hotels.
We have 3 overflow
Overflows,
hotels
yeah.
within the vicinity, a walking distance from the Omni.
So lots to prepare for. We've come off, again, congratulations on Werks Reunion Amelia. I believe Treffen's in the middle of this.
Treffen Homestead is next.
Treffen Homestead is next, and then it's really full
Parade.
out for Parade. It's
Yeah.
going to come sooner than we think. This year has really flown by.
It has. It really has. It's
So-
going to be here before we know it.
Treffen Homestead sold out. Congratulations.
Sold out, yep.
Oklahoma City, hopefully you'll get there with it being sold out, but registration Phase 1 is open. You'll let us know when Phase 2 is ready. Treffen at Sea 70th anniversary cruise. We set sail August 30th through September 6th. You're working on some special travel arrangements that
Oh, yes.
we might be able to take some members from PCA National Headquarters up to New York, because we're going to have a little party
Yep.
before we set sail here.
Yep, exactly. And Zone 1 has really stepped up, and there should be things basically at every port. We know the Canadian ports are already on board, and New York's on board, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And we already have, almost 950 of
Yeah.
your PCA co-members there.
That's awesome.
Part of the adventure going to be navigating the New York subway on
Yes.
the way to Brooklyn.
That's your test to get onto the ship.
I want us door-to-door service.
So
No,
we
no
take-
navigating nothing.
I landed in Queens once trying to do that.
We take off in Brooklyn, right? That's where
Yep,
the port is?
we
Yeah.
take off in Brooklyn.
And you're already traveling, I believe, next week. We're planning events 3 years in advance. You
Yep.
can't say where because we have to keep it secret, but
Yep.
you're already on the road.
What does it rhyme with?
Well, we know it's not here in Maryland if you
No,
gotta travel.
no,
so
no.
there's one clue.
Yep, which is the exciting part, to pick these places and, find different roads and destinations that we haven't uncovered yet, which is hard because, the club has a lot of events.
We do.
So,
So I asked Google AI to tell me what kind of barbecue is in Oklahoma City. But I thought they were known for steak. I just thought that's where steaks are made. But evidently it's barbecue.
We're
Yeah.
steaks are
Even better because
they
we
do
got
have a lot of
barbecue.
cattle feed. I think
They
they're like
do.
the cattle feed.
Well, that's a steak factory,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well,
So it said Oklahoma City barbecue draws inspiration from both Kansas City and Texas styles, resulting in a mix of sweet, savory, and tangy sauces, with a focus on smoked meats. like brisket and ribs, along with local favorites like
almost
smoked
lunchtime.
bologna
This sounds
and hot links.
amazing.
Smoked bologna.
Someone is so hungry because we're recording this.
I'll take the tangy sauce. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, get ready for some awesome barbecue when you come.
I've been to Oklahoma City twice, site visit as well as an EC meeting. Did not have a bad meal any of the times that we were there.
No, I had
The
great food.
there is incredible.
Yeah, the food's great.
All right, everyone. I want to shout out to those that are looking to sim race. Check out PCASimRacing.com. Get your rig set up and race against PCA members online. You can do it from an EDE, which is sort of your own pace and enjoy the drive on different tracks, or you can go competitively drive against others. If you're looking for PCA Insider swag, head over to the PCA web store. We have bottles, we have mugs, we have t-shirts. But if you're just looking for a PCA Insider decal, send us your address information to podcast@pca.org, and we'll send you a set of decals.
Include your mailing address.
Include your mailing address. And Melanie, thank you for all that you do. We will say this over and over and over, so we make sure that you know how much we appreciate you and all the hard work that you do.
I just need to be on the podcast more so I can build up my audience.
Yes, exactly.
Melanie went to Walmart for us. While we were at an event at filming something, and I said, "Just give me some M&Ms." Oh my God!
You got the family pack.
As Roxanne says, does she know you have diabetes? No, it wasn't a family pack. The family pack would have been good. This was called the party pack.
Yes, it was big.
It was, I think, 2.5 pounds of peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, if I get M&Ms, I mean, that's the cheap way to get it, right? You buy a party
Yeah.
pack, it
I've
lasts you a
never
month.
seen a bag that big of M&Ms.
Yes.
Well, here's the behind-the-scenes PCA Insider, the tidbit. Wherever we go, whatever events we do, we definitely always do a Walmart run to get the last-minute
Of course.
stuff. It's,
Yes.
It's an adventure.
For
every single
entertainment
time.
and for sustenance.
And we're never in the toy aisle looking at Legos or Matchbox, ever.
That's where we usually have to go find Manny.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and consider sharing our show with fellow Porsche enthusiasts. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.